Welcome to Authentic Space with Kasia and Clo, who live their lives unapologetically.
How is Italy?
Hot, man. Oh my God. We actually drove down and we stopped in France for like a weekend and stuff. And we don't have air conditioning in the car.
Oh, wow. A summer in France and now in Italy.
Oh my God. It was awful. Like we did like this revision, whatever, for the car before getting out, of course. And it was so expensive. And I mean, our car is like 17 years old, right? So it's just like, it's literally just something we use to move from A to B and B to A, right? Like it's not like,
Or from like one country to another country and then through another country.
yeah. And it's just like, and again, we live in Belgium. So, I mean, the weather is what it is. So in the summer, it doesn't get that warm or something. So it's kind of like,
and you're hoping for sun in the summer.
yeah, just a tiny bit, but not this hot. And we're traveling with Koopy, with our cat. So it was quite the adventure because, he was like panting and I was literally holding a fan in his face, like a portable fan in his face attached to a converter for the car. Like the whole thing was just like, I don't know, like a horror movie or something. But we managed. We got here last week. Spent the first week in, as I was telling you, in this very nice little apartment with a very nice outside area. And but it's been, I mean, thank God we had like AC and in the house, because
that's nice.
It's just, it will be
unbearable.
No, unbearable. It's just way too hot. And then, it's been great because, my mom has recently retired just actually 2 weeks ago, which is kind of a big deal.
Yeah, for sure. It's like a life change.
It's such a huge life change indeed.
How is she coping with it?
It's like, I'm not going to go like a lot into details, but I think she's loving it. I think so far it hasn't clicked yet because,
Okay, well, that's another thing, because sometimes like people get into it and initially it's almost like, when you work 5 days a week and then you get into a weekend, you're like, oh my gosh, weekend, I can do this forever, right? Or when you go on vacation, right? And or like, especially like for people that work in like corporate worlds and the 9 to 5 type of desk jobs,
exactly,
and it's like they're waiting for like a holiday, right? And then they go away for a week and somewhere on an island, right? And they think they can do this forever. Thinking that like an island life is like the best thing in the world, right?
No. Well, no, I mean, and she said that it still feels like she's on holidays, basically. So she hasn't figured it out yet.
Yeah.
And so, but I mean, I feel like she was just telling me, it's nice to just get up and have, she's like, she makes breakfast and she goes outside and she just reads her book while she has breakfast. She's like taking a lot of time and it's nice. And she's like watching all these like new TV shows and stuff because, she still doesn't understand and, that she's free pretty much.
Yeah. What an amazing feeling though.
I think it's gonna hit her like when we get back from the holidays, like in September or something like that. It's going to be like, oh, okay, well, actually I'm retired and whoa, I have a shitload of time on my hands right now. So
basically you're in Italy for a while, right?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna do vacation with your parents and your family.
Yeah.
So she's gonna be enjoying, every bit of that, right? And like you said, it might not sink in until you actually guys leave.
Yeah, but it's been nice because it's been. I mean, we've only been here like now, like exactly a week today, yeah. And but yeah, so having like a different apartment has helped a lot because usually we would be at their place because they have a big enough place for us to stay there. Like, but it's just not big enough to be there for like a month and a half.
Yeah. And especially if you work remotely and stuff, it just...
Exactly. And we have like, with Ben, we have like weird times. Sometimes like we work while we're eating for dinner or something like that, or we don't even have lunch or dinner, whatever. It's not as, it's kind of like a different life, right? Like
absolutely.
it's not as it's just different. We're like much freer, let's say. And and so basically we've been seeing them a bit. We got them over like for dinner and stuff. We had a nice dinner together. We cooked for them, and then we met my sister's new boyfriend, which was really nice. And then yesterday, it was Sunday, we went out for lunch, and then everyone went home like for a little siesta, like a little Sunday afternoon nap. And then they came back for dinner, and we had pizza, watched some TV, played cards. It was just like like a typical summer, let's say, evening or whatever and stuff. It was great. And then today we're just, Ben and I kind of back to work, and, stuff coming up with different clients and work coming up for this week. I'm trying to get as much done in the next 3 weeks, so that then we can literally just turn off our computers and be completely offline for like 2 weeks of the holidays.
Well, when you do have your own business, it's actually nice to be able to do that, and especially when you work remotely, it's, not every day is not the same. Sometimes you have to work more hours. It's not that like you're always done at 5.
No, exactly.
But you have that, capability of, let me just kind of catch up on work or do a little bit more of it. And then I can honestly turn off, work and really enjoy myself. Yeah.
It's kind of weird because we've been here, as I said, a week, but I have felt, even if I'm working, I feel like I am kind of not checked out, but sort of like I have work to do and I'm doing it. It doesn't weigh on me a lot. It's not like, oh my God, like full campaigns, priorities and deadlines and stuff like that. It's kind of like more maintenance work that we're doing right now, and like those things that you usually don't have the time to do during like normal time, pre-summer, let's say, especially in our line of work. It's been nice because I feel like, oh, well, it's a nice day, I'm just going to go out to have ice cream or something. Oh, let's just finish the day at 5 today, and then just go out for a ride, and then go out for a restaurant or something like that. So it's been kind of like even more relaxed than what we are usually used to, but also because I feel there's just so much more to do here than back in Brussels. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's so much to see. There's like different, and places are opening up after the pandemic, not really after the pandemic, but you know what I mean? Like, things are opening up again, and
but with less restrictions.
Exactly. Less restricted. And
for the time being.
Yeah.
So there's kind of like this vacation mode a little bit that you're in, right? And I'm sure the climate does it too, right?
Yes, it changes, even if it's really warm and we're not really used to this huge heat.
Yeah.
It still makes it feel like it's just a much more relaxed life, as it should be, and it's great after so much time of kind of being locked in, and it's great. And also, like, seeing my family after so much time, because we've been away for a while, a year and a half, and we were supposed to see them for Christmas, but it was impossible to travel, and it was just a mess.
And that's the thing, like, I wonder if it's maybe because you guys haven't traveled for so long with the pandemic going on, that it kind of makes you, because prior to it, it's just, you would travel more often, right? So kind of the change of scenery was just like, it just felt like a natural thing. But all of a sudden you really like left home and Brussels, and it just feels like, oh my gosh, I haven't felt like a change of scenery. And then, because you're in a different climate, like, you could be in Brussels and then travel to, I don't know, Amsterdam. It's still going to be a similar kind of climate or what have you, right? Where it's kind of like, even though you're changing the scenery, it's still like maybe you're still kind of in the same zone type of thing, versus when you're traveling more south, or like more of like that vacation spot or what have you, right? It's just like all of a sudden everything changes around you, and
it's a different mindset, huh? It's a completely different mindset, because even during COVID, we did kind of travel, not as much, of course, but we were really just more inside of Belgium. We did go to France for like twice last year over the summer, but it wasn't, everything was kind of like, well, in July in Provence, it was still okay, but we were freaked out. Meaning, like, I need to get out of Brussels because it's such a new reality. We're locked in. We've been locked in since March, and it's just, you know, we can't. We canceled the wedding and this.
That's right. Yeah, there was also like the little break, right, in July and August, where people kind of started getting out, but then the restrictions when or the lockdowns, right, hit again. I remember that. Yeah.
And then at the end of August, we went for a week in Normandy. The weather was great, because I really, really checked out, meaning I was not working. I was just like, I literally spent a week on the seaside, on the beach, not warm weather, but coldish weather, which I actually really love. And Normandy, I mean, you know, is gorgeous.
But it is that cooler weather, you know, it's not, you know, it's not like a Spain weather or even Italy weather. It's a whole, I mean, to me, it's very similar to like the Belgium coast.
Yeah, it is.
Very much so.
But the difference is that was kind of like full, like it was like last week of August or something like that. And they were starting to lock down people again, and so not much, we couldn't visit much, we couldn't do so. It was a bit of a different thing. And now the feeling is, if I wanted to right now, I could just get the car, drive for like 40 minutes, be on the lake, and just, you know, suntan and like, I mean, sunbathe and stuff like that, and just whatever. It's just, I feel it's like more psychological than anything else. Like it feels, it's not like it's back to 100% normal, because we are still like, you know, wearing masks and stuff. We're still trying to be good about keeping distance and stuff, even if, I mean, Ben and I are both vaccinated. Okay, it doesn't mean anything, but okay. But still, like, it's just, it feels like there's so many things that we could be doing, and there's so many possibilities of traveling, even like around where my parents live and where we are right now, than in Belgium, for example, where it's like everything is very flat. It's kind of like hit or miss, you know. I mean, it's a different sort of environment, I want to say, which kind of helps psychologically as well, I think, a lot.
Do you think that, like, because sometimes, like, to me, you know, when I was on my year-long travel journey around the world, it's like, you know, and I moved around like every month or so to a different place, different location. But it's just like, there's also something that every time you change location, it's almost, you know, because like, if I'm in one location for a longer period of time, then all of a sudden, like, I get to like, oh, I've already been to the lake. I've already been here. So it's like, yes, it's beautiful, but it's like, how many times can I do it, right? Versus when we changed scenery. And I know you're from Italy, so for you, it's like, oh, I've been here too. But it's like a nostalgia almost, where like, it's been so long that it's almost like, and again, for anyone, that kind of changing that scenery, or that you know, a change of place, it kind of makes you feel like, oh my gosh, I want to experience this and that. So it's like there's more of that like newness that you want to experience, at least at the beginning, you know.
I feel also there is an added value to that, or another dimension, where it's like, it feels like after a year and a half, but even before, but I'm not the same person.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm not, like, I feel that I am looking at everything that I am seeing with very completely different eyes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, as it's a sad thing to say, but like I actually I'm grateful to COVID for that, because COVID allowed all of us to really kind of dive in a lot more. And really start questioning certain things, really start questioning the motivations that we have and why we do what we do. You know, all these why questions, right? Why are certain people in our lives, or what is the purpose of it? And, you know, where are you headed? Like, you know, I think for the entire world, COVID allowed us to really like stop and take a breather and not always be distracted and really ask.
And also, I feel a lot has changed in terms of life can just change suddenly so quickly and so fast, and you can just lose everything, right? So I feel like I'm even looking at things with renewed eyes, where it's like I'm trying not to give things and people and places and emotions and feelings for granted.
Oh, absolutely. And even experiences sometimes, you know, like we're both, you know, we love traveling, right? And to me, before COVID, like I was traveling like crazy for the past, you know, a few years prior to COVID. And all of a sudden, even though like my last trip was actually to China right before COVID. And I remember I was coming back from China and I was just like, I was so tired. I was exhausted. I'm constantly, you know, living out of a suitcase and flying and, you know, all that stuff. But I remember like COVID happened right after that. And like within 6 months, it's just like that yearning for travel, the freedom aspect of, you know, just being able to like wanting to like book a ticket and just go, right?
Oh my God. I mean, for sure.
And like that thing, just like just the experience of it, just, you know, and I know people travel for different reasons, right? But for me, travel was always kind of the experience of it and the self-discovery of it. And just like, that was kind of, that was my focus for traveling, you know? And all of a sudden, like all of that was taken away from me. And it's been tough. It's been a tough period in that sense.
And I mean, it does force you to look at things in a completely different way. It does, because it's just, I mean, I don't know. I've been, you know, spending like the whole year thinking, oh, we're gonna do this. So I want to do this and that. But also, I'm thinking we're gonna be here for like a month and a half or something, and I want to see as much as we can, because what do we know when, you know?
It's almost like you want to indulge, you know, like. Yes. Just truly enjoy, you know, everything that you have access to and that you're able to use.
Yeah. And I mean, honestly, like traveling, and for me, traveling, good food and things like that, you know, it's just like really the money best spent to a certain extent, because it's just
like it feeds your soul. Yeah,
it does. It's experiences that, you know, will be with you for the rest of your life, I think. And that's why, it's kind of like more of like maybe I would call it more intentional traveling.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I think usually like slower traveling, that's kind of what it's all about. Yeah. Because I mean, I remember when I was in like college years or something, and for me, you know, I would like, you know, I would live in New York, and you know, we would fly out with friends on like Friday after work, straight to like Puerto Rico, and then come back on Monday morning and straight, you know, to work. And
oh my God.
And we would do that, right? And it just like, that was like the best thing ever. But like today, I just wouldn't be able to.
No, definitely not. Absolutely not. Unless you do like a weekend in a spa where you're just like, oh, you do 2 nights and you do massages and stuff like that. But to me, it's not even worth.
Yeah, or like do like a little road trip for like a day, right? Just kind of go to like a little cute, you know, charming village and then come back home, you know, like they're still nice, but it's just like in terms of like traveling where you have to pack and especially when you're international traveling, because traveling, especially international, I feel like it's just, it's a little harder these days, you know, there's a lot more that you have to prep for. That you have to look into and make sure you have no cancellations and stuff and backups and like I feel like like traveling these days is doable, but you have to be organized to have a good and like a non-frustrating trip.
Otherwise you get exactly frustrated, and it's then it's whatever.
It's almost like defeats the purpose of traveling, unless if you enjoy being delayed and having cancellations and all that stuff. I don't know, maybe some people do, who knows, right?
Yeah, some people might, but
definitely not us.
Not in my case. No, definitely not, because even if I don't do like, I mean, because for me, we have definitely become more slow travelers. We've never been like with Ben. We've never been like, oh my god, 8 a.m. up and going and doing things and getting back home at 8 p.m. Yeah, no, fuck that. I can't do that. I don't enjoy it. I used to. Yeah. I don't think I've ever done it as much.
I guess it comes with age and maturity.
Yeah.
At least I feel like you and I were kind of on the same boat where...
Indeed.
Because I remember when, like, even when I lived in Brussels, like, we did short trips too. And it's like, oh, we have 2 days where, you know, but
sure.
That was the fun of it. You know, we were in college and, you know, we were in school and we were at the university, and it just like we had, you know,
it's a different vibe.
Different vibe, and I mean, you know, and I think, you know, everyone who's in college, I mean, that's the perfect time when you're like, you're an adult, so you can be on your own, and like this is your time to experience life.
Yeah. There are a lot of places that we've been to that I'd love to go back, because I feel that I have not experienced them with the right mindset, or I haven't you know, kind of taking the most advantage I could have, or other places that, you know, you go and you expect that 4 days are going to be enough, where you're like, actually, no, like, I had this for like Iceland, for example. Like, it was one of the best trips we've ever taken. And I mean, I just, we went there for Ben's birthday a couple of years back, and I've been like craving to just go back and, you know, explore even more than what we did, because there's just so much more to see. There's just so many things you can do, even if it's quite wild still. It's not as super touristic as other places in the world, but I think, you know, even like reconnecting with nature is incredible there and stuff. And it's just, oh my God, I just, you know, want to go back so badly. And and I mean, as much as, you know, heat and warmth is nice, I'm a huge fan of winter. So and fall is my favorite season. But so in any case,
in Iceland, their summers are pretty cool, right?
Yeah. They're not. The only thing is, like, I think they have it doesn't get dark or something like that.
Yeah, because they're up so high. It's kind of like the Scandinavian countries or Canadian or Alaska.
So it doesn't get, so it's kind of like you know, always light and stuff, which is, that's something that I really love about summer, and it's like when it's light out until like very late, you know, which is great. But again, I'm such a fall person. Like, oh my God, it just so nice.
But you actually reminded me when I was in Alaska with my sister. It was literally, we did one of those like quick trips. She was in New York City and I was in San Francisco. And I literally was like a week before 4th of July, so July 4th in the US. And I was like, hey, like, let's do a 4th of July in Alaska.
Whoa.
And it's just like, but that kind of shows like how we used to travel, right? Or like how I used to travel. And it just like, I mean, I could never do this today, but back in the days, it was literally like, for her, it was like an 8-hour trip. Well, actually, so it was like a 6-hour flight to Seattle. For me, it was like a 2-hour flight to Seattle from San Francisco. We met in Seattle, and then we both flew in to, Anchorage in Alaska. And, you know, Alaska is way up there too. And,
Indeed.
you know, and it's like literally like, so we spent a day traveling, well, especially for her. And then we like literally drove like the entire kind of loop through like the highway loop in Alaska, which is like usually like it's a we kind of went to the major cities, and we went to like the North Pole and all that stuff. But like we literally, like I called it, we did like a speedy travel through Alaska.
Yeah.
But the beauty is that it was light. Like, I mean, it never went dark. It never did. I remember we were in a hotel and we only slept like 2 hours because we were just so exhausted. But on the same note, we didn't even have to sleep because there was no night, right? So,
oh my God.
and we literally, like, it was a hotel room, and we were, like she took a picture of me of in the window, and I was like I was showing on my phone the clock, and it said like 3:30 a.m. in the morning, and it was still like it looked like it was like a sunset.
Super light. Yeah,
but
of course.
In 30 minutes it was already a sunrise. So it was like it was like unbelievable. And then we kind of drove the night. We pretty much drove for like 15 hours straight all over Alaska because we're like, well, we're leaving tomorrow, so we have to like take advantage of this, right?
Take advantage of all the time you got.
But luckily, the sun and the fact that the days are so long helped us, right? So, and then we traveled a full day, to go back home. But it was like, it's just, it's crazy. Like those experiences were crazy. I could never do it again, though.
How things change. Change, huh? I mean, it's crazy. And it one thing that always bothers me is the fact that you don't have like enough time on this planet to just see all the amazing stuff that there is to see, right? Like that is literally something that genuinely bothers me.
See things, but also do things and experience things.
Yeah, experience. Yeah, indeed.
Stay tuned for more and join our community at AuthenticSpacePodcast.com and on Instagram at AuthenticSpacePodcast.